Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Daily Wrestling News Show for March 1st, 2022. And I have a very special guest today. We are joined by Nelio Cuomo Costa of CCW. CCW celebrating their 18th anniversary later this month. And that show is going to be in Fort Lauderdale. Before that, we have Bash at the Brew. They're going to be in Homestead, Florida. They've got Nashville, Ocala. They're all over the state of Florida and the East Coast, I guess. So, Nelio, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you. It's been way too long. I feel like we haven't spoken in so long, but also you've come on as our main show sponsor for our craziest show, and you rock, Ryan. Thank you so much for helping and supporting us through all this time, but also just like covering us. And I know you and Maggie are always there at the shows, and I appreciate everything that you've done for me. It's wild. Like if I remember, man, it was almost 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, at least, when we first started, when I first met, it was about, almost 2 years ago, probably 2 years ago. I was wrestling Gary Wolf that weekend. So not me, I'm sorry. Someone else was wrestling Gary Wolf that weekend. So it's been 2 years, and I really, really appreciate, like, if I saw our relationship grow to this level, then I would, be even more appreciative. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's talk about that crazy show that's coming up this weekend, March 5th down in Hialeah, Florida. Bash at the Brew. I mean, when you talked about our relationship, 2 years or whatever, Bash at the Brew, this is the 14th installment. So this is a show that you started over a year ago. It's a monthly show in Florida. The crowd is always hot. So I guess, what's it like having a stable show every week that you can count on the fans to just be rabid in South Florida with chants and cheers and everything? What's that like?
You know what? It's been a huge part of our growth because it's caught so much buzz. So it helps us in so many different areas as well. But like you said, like, we have a stable show. We've, for the last 3 months, we've eclipsed like 580, 590 people, and they're rabid. It sounds like 1,000. It's amazing to work in front of that crowd on a consistent basis. And Unbranded Brewing Company, the owners there, like, they played really a huge part in allowing us to get to where we are. But it kind of has taken a life of its own, and it helps anchor everything that we're doing, whether it's in Fort Lauderdale or nationwide. When people think of CCW now, they think of Bash at the Brew. It's our A show. It's our flagship show, and it's helped so much. It's helped. And you can't speak enough about the guys who made that show what it is: Cha-Cha Charlie, Ariel Levy, Bill Alfonso, Jackal, even guys that are not with us anymore, who were wonderful early on into that show, and they made that show. So it's a situation now where we've done so much of that groundwork. There's still a lot more to do, but it's one of those things where every month, that's the day that I'm waiting for, and I'm anticipating, and it's like I said, it's the show. And this Saturday, it's going to be probably one of our best. I say that every month, but this is probably one of our best cards. Agony and Cha-Cha Charlie, CCW heavyweight title. Agony is a former CCW heavyweight champion. Cha-Cha Charlie, he's a 2-time CCW heavyweight champion. And last month, it was a regular match. But if you watch Bash at the Brew, we know when we're in that crowd, we're in that moment, our referees kind of let things go a little bit. But it got a little bit too crazy. Obviously left the ringside area, all that type of stuff, ended in a disqualification. So it's no DQ this time, and this is going to be a pretty insane matchup. It's a marquee matchup. This is a matchup that we were figuring this is something for anniversary, but Bash at the Brew has eclipsed anniversary. Bash at the Brew is our Saudi show, and anniversary.
That it's
you can put it in yourself. Like, that's the show that, for me now, that's our WrestleMania. Every month is WrestleMania here at CCW, and this is one of those year-long feuds matches that will culminate Saturday with Agony or Cha-Cha Charlie victorious.
Yeah, and that's just one match on what is a pretty stacked card. But you mentioned the partnership with Unbranded, and I want to not gloss over that, because you've been there in Hialeah for 14 shows now. I think you've got up to 18 or 19 on the website right now. So
Yes.
it's a long-term partnership. You've co-developed a beer together. What can we expect?
Triple Choke Slam, guys, available at Unbranded Brewing Company, available at Union Brewing. Also, message us through the website. We also have other ways that we can get you cases legally through different distributors. If you're in Nashville as well, they're available at our shows. Go ahead, continue. A great beer, amazing triple IPA. I mean, what I like about it is you drink one beer and it's got the alcohol of 3 beers. You don't realize that, so it gets you where you need to go a lot quicker.
Yeah, I should have had. I mean, it's 10 a.m. Otherwise, I have one in my fridge right there, but it's 10 a.m. By the way, I noticed you also said we have legal ways of getting it to you. That just kind of makes me think there might be other ways to get it to you.
Oh no, of course. If you come to my house, and we're barbecuing, everyone's drinking Triple Choke Slam. But like if you want to trade me something for him at my house or my home or whatever, that's fine. But no, I mean the reason is we have some rabid wrestling fans who don't get down to Hialeah. I don't know why. I mean, drive 4 hours, drive 5 hours, and I've just given them cans because they wanted as a collector's item. I wish I could show you the can or whatever. But it's a really cool can with a CCW and all that type of stuff. And the new can on the new batch is coming up soon as well. So we have the volume 2s coming out. But a lot of them don't even want to drink it. They want to just keep it as a collector's item. They just want to have it and stuff like that. I mean, I would say keep the volume 1s as a collector's item, but definitely drink it. It's really good. I mean, if you're into that. But yes, Union Brewing and obviously Unbranded. We've gotten out to some different restaurants and bars that are now serving Triple Choke Slam. It's delicious.
Yeah. So my question originally was going to be, what's the future of that relationship? Obviously, we know there's Bash. We've seen it grow into a beer. It sounds like we're getting volume 2. So you may have already killed the question there, but
yeah, volume 2. We're gonna have a Triple Choke Slam volume 2, which is gonna be the same, and then we're gonna see developing some different stuff. Like I'm not a huge beer guy. I do love the Triple Choke Slam. I really like a really light beer when you're after you work out or whatever. So maybe look at it more of like an amber, something like a little bit of a lighter beer that you can drink 10 of them, because then you have to buy more.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The light beers, then. Yeah.
The lighter beers, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So,
but also one of the things that with Bash of the Brew and with Unbranded is, and you're talking about partnerships and moving forward with them in the partnership. We have some new media and television deals underway, and they have been so great to be very accommodating of like different stuff now that we're doing. There, filming wise and stuff like that. Even they upgraded their internet speed for potential live event stuff, and they did that on their own time because they're awesome. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, great partners. So you talked about Cha-Cha versus Agony, and it's not. I mean, that's not the only title match that you have on the show coming up this weekend. You've got a big return match for that Cruiserweight Championship this weekend.
Yeah, Chris Farrell was the first ever and only Cruiserweight champion. He actually defeated Alan S2S Martinez in the Cruiserweight Battle of Boca Raton to
yes, I was
win
there.
The title. They've wrestled a few times. That was the match. That was our marquee Cruiserweight match and had been for a while. And they had, I think, it was the best match of Chris Farrell's career. Was an amazing match. Unfortunately, he got to the short end of the stick. And then out of nowhere, Alan S2S, who's always was a very nice, respectful, quiet guy in the locker room, he decided to attack Chris after the match. And originally, Alan was denying the need for any rematch, but we got it signed for Bash to the Brew 14. So this is the official rematch. I know Chris Farrow has been very upset for the last 2 months. Alan had an amazing match with the Prince of Rome D3 at the last Bash. He's defended the Cruiserweight title, so far. But Chris Farrow was always the guy there who was open and willing to defend it against anyone, and he deserves that return for it. That match is going to be great. If you go to CCW's YouTube, that full match is available. I know it was on Live Wrestling 70. something. But go and you can just watch that match from beginning to end, and it's wonderful. The best in Chris Farrell's career, and it shows. It's really put Chris Farrell like I've seen Chris Farrell develop like from his first bumps and stuff, and it puts him now I think at another level where he's at. And Allen helped him get there, but you have to give credit where credit is due. That match was phenomenal.
Absolutely. So also on the same show, you have a tag team title match, South American Alliance. They're facing the New Age Power Trip.
Yeah, New Age Power Trip, man.
How long has South American Alliance had those titles? A long time.
January, I think something like January 16th of 2021. There's been some ups and downs, but a lot of
Carlito had his Royal Rumble run.
Yes. Was that week? Yeah. Carlito. Yeah, they defeated Carlito and Eddie Colon for the CCW tag titles January 16th, and then literally a week and a half later, Carlito was in the Rumble. How long ago does that feel? It feels like a decade that the South American Alliance has had the titles, and there were some times where it was iffy. Bill Alfonso did a lot of things early on, but they've really gelled as a team, and really, you talk about the amount of title defenses. 38 title defenses. You talk about the time that they've had it. There's no CCW tag team that touches that. Obviously, you have Phi Delta Slam in the early 2000s with Big Tilly and Bruno Sassy that were the top of the top when it comes to CCW tag teams. Obviously, American Horror Story held that title for a very long time. Agony and Alex Ocean. When Jacko was just beginning. So you have those tag teams that are real amazing tag teams. You also had the Headbangers. The Headbangers are still technically the longest running CCW tag team champions. But considering the amount of defenses, considering the amount of people at the shows, the South American Alliance has done amazing things. So they're against an amazing group of guys. The New Age Power Trip. You have Andy Brown, who's out of Los Angeles, who's worked in Game Changer and some other things like that. He's got incredible size, power, and then of course Jake Sterling, who wrestled Jackal at the last Port St. Lucie show. Another guy with size, and he's been taken under the wing of Tyson Kidd and Natalia up there in Tampa. So he's developing nicely. But when you're against South American Alliance, 335 pounds with Vinicius, and then Ariel Levy, who has grown technically in from a year ago to now, technically as a wrestler is improved leaps and bounds. And then you look at also just how much physically more imposing he is as well. You have almost insurmountable tag team champions. So we will see where that goes. If someone can match power and power with Vinicius, it'll be the New Age Power Trip. But let's see. I think that will be something that will be it'll be a great match, and we'll see where Fonzie plays into that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, when you think back at
you never know when Jack Talos, you have 7-foot Jack Talos, he's on the card. He has made Vinicius's life a living hell. He kicked Ariel Levy in the face. He did a lot. He threw Vinicius into a bunch of kegs, and he's just, I don't know what that guy's problem is. He's an amazing competitor. Like I just said, we're on CCW is on an expedition of size. We want wrestlers that look like professional wrestlers, and Jack Talos is 7 foot tall, and that's unable to be taught from what I've heard. And he is the real deal, a real 7-footer who is strong as hell. And then
he's probably angry because he's hit his head on everything. Every door.
Yeah, exactly. He really does. He has to go in every door in the locker rooms at Bash of the Brew. His head is grazing the doors and stuff. And it's just having a physical specimen like that. And then if Vinicius has just got off of a very physically imposing feud with Beastman. Tore tendons in his left wrist in that match when he was recovering from a broken thumb. So it just seems like all of these big, 400-pounders want to come and knock the Brazilian Giant off. So he'll be there. Jack Talos will be there. He'll be wrestling Johnny Nova. Johnny Nova, amazing competitor, amazing technical wrestler. I don't know how the luck of the draw that he gets Jack Talos at the Bash, but that's what he's got. So that's going to be an interesting matchup of a giant with amazing strength versus Johnny Nova with amazing speed and technical ability.
Yeah, and you mentioned Beast Man. He's going to be there this as well
Yeah,
against
and the return.
Florida.
Florida Man. Florida Man is a sensation. I've known Trevor for a while. He is a sensation. I love when a situation is like we have the guys who have been there for 14 months, like I mentioned earlier, like Jackal Stevens and Vinicius, Ariel, Fonzie, Cha Cha Charlie, Alex Ocean. And you have those guys that are institutions when it comes to CCW and Bash of the Brew. And then like 3-4 months ago, you had Florida Man, who has just gotten over like so quickly, which is great. An amazing match against Davey Richards. The fans respond to him, but it's a tough task. Beastman is a legitimate 470, 480 pounds. So that's just a very tough matchup. You have also Beastman, who's made it known he wants to become the CCW heavyweight championship. If you watch his match with Vinicius on the, I think Bruce Owens was a little bit distracted on the final pinfall. I think he was such an amazing, like, explosive finish to that match. But Beastman's, I don't know if his shoulders were all the way down for the 3 seconds there, so he's upset. Obviously, Lou Spector is upset, and he anticipated running through Vinicius and running through the entire CCW locker room, and then going for the CCW Heavyweight Championship. Agony versus Beastman would be an amazing match, and then of course Cha Cha Charlie versus Beastman. I think Agony matches up much better with Beastman than a Cha Cha Charlie would. But if Beastman is able to defeat Florida Man, and if his wins continue, let's see if he's able to insert himself in the title picture.
Yeah, a bash 15, bash 16, bash 17.
Yeah, exactly. Set it up for Beastman and Agony. Bash 21, bash 24. When is Triple H's daughters ready? Put them in bash 28. I'm than that. Bash 500.
Not against Beastman though.
Bash 500 is going to be just two robots fighting. It's all going to be an NFT. Bash 500 is going to be an NFT that you just download on your phone, and it's all going to be a video game being played by a 5-year-old, and we're all and we're going to probably pay thousands for it with inflation. Go ahead.
Well, we need to talk. We can't not talk about Marina Tucker. She has a match on the show this week too. So the women's division, Kylan won the title a few months ago, and man, it's still not sitting well with Marina.
100%. I mean, it's all she talks about. Walks around the locker room upset, looking for Kylan. Look, Kylan is a specimen, physical specimen, and I think that was everything that Marina had, and I think Marina going into their match, which is an amazing match. It's available on the YouTube full match right now, but also on one of the lives, 71 or something like that. So you have Marina, who was very confident in being able to use her technical ability over Kylan, but Kylan was just too strong, too powerful. And then on the return, she attempted to take a little bit of a shortcut. The referee saw it, and we got the disqualification. So. Marina is very obviously very, very, very frustrated. So she has set her sights on JC Love. JC Love's making her second appearance here with us at CCW, and it'll be her first time at Bash of the Brew. So it'll be interesting because I've seen some people come in and not respond to the amount of people there, and maybe not respond to the lights in a positive way, maybe a little bit of nervousness or anxiousness. So I'm excited to see how she takes to wrestling in such a crazy environment.
Sure. Well, you've mentioned the live wrestling a bunch of times at this point. We're at episode, I believe tonight is going to be episode 75. Every Tuesday, 7 p.m. on YouTube.
Yes, tonight, Kylan King versus Jamie Lynn Senegal for the CCW Women's Championship. This is from last bash, and the match was awesome. And then before that was another match that was good. I can't remember what it is. Go ahead. Well, Alive has become amazing. Alive wrestling has taken off. Like it's one of these crazy things. Like I started 75 weeks ago, and it's just really turned into something completely different.
Yeah, 75 is it's a big number. So I guess what can we expect in the next 75 episode.
Okay. Well, I haven't. I kind of like. I've been like tiptoeing around some like official announcements like things, but the format of the show has changed. We're reformatting some of the shows. In November of last year, very quietly, we were approached in regards to a development deal for a cable show for CCW Alive Wrestling, 44-minute cable show that's primarily for a Spanish audience, but would also have an English version. And that was Alive was going to change, and obviously was going to be completely different. So in the process of all of that, things have kind of changed again. We still are working towards our development deal for the cable version of CCW Live, but in the process of working with our production company, they realize that there's a lot of amazing episodes and footage that are very much usable for television, which baffles me, considering I love it. I love Alive Wrestling, but they felt that there's something special there in that like DIY feel to the show.
Sure.
I'll explain a little bit of, it was, I believe, and I have to thank Bash at the Brew for this too, because we had a discussion with a cable network in October or September of last year. And so, they wanted to see Bash at the Brew. They wanted to see just the vibe and the feel of it, and as well in regards to a development of a show, or to put our show on, or whatever. Just opening discussions on potentially a media deal for CCW. So it just so happened on that show, we forgot the skirts and the pads to the ring for some reason, which has never happened in years. Like the truck got there, we started setting up, and then the sound system for some reason was not working. One of the staff members who were no longer there dropped one of the speakers into the bay back there and broke them or whatever. Every bad, horrible thing that could happen happened. So we had to find a last second wired microphone, and then we had to go on a little bit late. And I was probably more mad that day in professional wrestling than I've ever been in my life, because you start thinking like, well, like, and I didn't go in, like, I told a very handful of people that the network, the cable company was going to be there for that show. So I thought maybe sabotage or something, but it was not. It was just really bad luck, and it just so happens on that same show, there was a production company that, unbeknownst to me, had already been kind of taking a look at us. The vice president of the production company, their son was watching CCW Live, and was watching it religiously, and was asking him to come to a show. And he's not a wrestling fan. He worked previously at Nickelodeon. He's one of the producers for American Underdog, brand new to professional wrestling. So he was producing American Underdog, I believe, at the time, or at the end of final shoots or whatever. So he came to that show. And coincidentally, it's like a movie. It came out so perfectly. The moment he told me that he decided he wanted to work with us is when Vinicius picked up steps, and he threw him on Miami Mike at ringside. And it was one of the most brutal looking things. And when he saw that, he was baffled. And it made him a believer in what we were doing. And I have to thank them. I thank Miami Mike for taking a steel steps to the head. And then things like Alex Ocean jumping off a 30-foot ladder, Will Austin and Alex Ocean's hardcore match, and some other things that the production company saw, where they were enthralled with us. Mind you, they never had spoken to me. I didn't know that they were in the audience. So the cable company that came, we spoke to them a little bit. They said everything was fine, but I have a feeling that the show wasn't what it needed to be in terms of like. But what we didn't know was this production company had already was background checking us, had called the brewery, had called other venues, had done that type of stuff, doing due diligence, all unbeknownst to us. So when they spoke to me, they knew that there was something there with the company. And I have to thank Bash at the Brew, because when you go to a crowd like that and you feel what the crowd is doing, there was something there. So we did enter that. We entered an agreement with the production company, and then they were working on the cable show, and then in the process of finding footage, they realized that as we're developing something new, and finding things like money and resources for something new, that we had a back catalog of live wrestling that with a little bit of tweaks and formatting that we can sell. So now we're working on syndication, media deals, international deals to push live wrestling out to different countries and then different areas in the country. So just new eyeballs on what we're doing. And so it's interesting. It's taken a lot of time. It's taken a lot of effort. The YouTube show will be there 7:00. Potentially will things change on the YouTube show? Yeah. What has actually changed the most is I went back to all the footage for the last about year and a half, and anything that I have that I have commentary, that I have two angles, I'm starting to post. If you go to the YouTube page, you'll see full matches from a year ago that are coming now in their entirety. And so we just changed a little bit of what our vision is to go out there and be able to make media deals with a live wrestling. And it's put the development of a cable, a Spanish market cable show, premium channel show, a little bit on the back burner, but it's still, the deal. We're still in development for that as well. So I really haven't announced a lot of that stuff. We've been just kind of working behind the scenes to do so. We started playing on Mega TV from if you Palm Beach to Pompano Beach on Mega TV, I think in January. I haven't really announced it. Like I've had people literally just send me a camera phone video saying like, "Hey, dude, do you know that they're playing this show on this channel at 10:30 at night?" I said, "What are you talking about?" So, but that being said, we're gonna have more information soon of some stuff that we're doing. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of reformatting, editing, really cool stuff. So yeah, that's where live wrestling is going, and it's crazy because it's exploded to the point where we are not. It's its own monster. You know what I mean? It's its own monster. Like CCW was started as something like a passion for professional wrestling, and now I actually see a lot of really positive business opportunities for us in multiple facets. So it's just been an extra cool thing that's arisen from this.
Yeah, and just 75 episodes too. So I think if I do the math there, I think Alive must have started during the pandemic, right? Like when it first started.
Yeah. Exactly. We couldn't run shows. We couldn't have human beings around. Everyone was toying with stuff. And that's when I was like, you know what, we had, and CCW is very different at the beginning of the pandemic. The model was to run 4 to 5 shows a year, mostly out of Coral Springs, Florida, and to, run a very nice big show, but 4 or 5 times a year. And the fact that, we had, a training space and wrestlers, and we decided with this paradigm shift, or, I saw a lot of things happening in regards to just the end of brick and mortar business, the end of potentially people ever coming to, sticking together in a big group. I saw that as potentially coming to an end. So, what better than how are we going to be able to grow the brand during the time when we couldn't reach our core audience live? And that was, I saw it as an opportunity to grow the brand to different markets and people, because you really have a global ability with YouTube, So we started the YouTube channel then, and then we started to tweak some things. And then we did a practice taping that looked terrible. So I went and I got a hotel ballroom, and we had some people there, and you watch those first episodes, and that's some really guerrilla, crazy stuff. But we did bring in a guy like Lanny Poffo, originally Davey Boy Smith Jr., but we were blocked from using him because it was going to be broadcast and whatnot. So we said, let's get ourselves out there. And then that was the catalyst. What I feel like has made, obviously Bash of the Brew has been the big catalyst, but the difference is I'll talk to fans after a show, whether it's in Port St. Lucie or Nashville now, which I'll announce later that it looks like we're going to be here monthly in Nashville at Redcon 1. At the end of the shows and whatnot, fans would come and they would talk about storylines and watching matches and were way more involved in the characters of our show. And it was because they had something that they can go home and they can follow, and something that feels like something completely different than the WWE right now, or All Elite Wrestling or MLW. Like there is a little bit of a DIY underground feel. That was something that I didn't know that we were trying to do. But now that when I speak to, television people, like, of course I pretend like, yeah, of course, that's what we were trying to do. This was my plan all along. But we definitely have like there's a certain je ne sais quoi when you watch that show that feels very different, and it's not in a negative way.
Well,
Some people,
I always think about it as like it's like the grit of it, right?
right.
That's like almost like if you didn't know anything about wrestling, you kind of would envision that like grittiness to it. And if you turn on AEW or WWE, you don't get that really. It's so refined. If you turn
and I don't want that. I don't want that to change. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want that to change. And that's the thing too. Is like now we have we had a film crew for Gangrel and Jacob Fatu in Pompano Beach last couple weeks ago. And then we have the Mega TV filming crew that is available to us to do Bash at the Brew. But I said, guys, like as soon as we cross, there's a certain level that if we cross and we lose our core feel, we of course do I want the sound to be better on a live wrestling? Yes, I need the sound to be better on a live wrestling. But when it comes to, that was the thing too. I proceeded to give footage of upcoming live wrestling to the editors for the production company, and then when I got the edits back, I was like, no, no, I'm not trashing. But like I said, let's sit in a room together, and then I realized like I need to be the one doing the edits, because like cooking shows, children's shows, a lot of Christian media, and feature films are edited very much differently than professional wrestling. And I didn't realize this, but like out of a strange way, we have edited our show just a little bit differently. There's no shaky cam, the movement between matches and stuff like that. So it's one of those things that we hope to not lose the feel. Like, like I'm not going to be able to edit every episode of live wrestling. I'm not able to, not anymore. I'm not going to be able to produce directly with every single person on every single segment or whatever. But as long as we have some core principles and stuff like that we can expand upon, we don't lose who we are, then I think we have something super special, or whatever. Change is good too,
Yeah. So the poster behind you see Gangrel there. You've talked about, the Gangrel versus Jacob Fatu match that's coming up, or that happened, and now
it happened. It was awesome. Yes. And Gangrel got his head busted open from that big Samoan melon on the Samoan werewolf. And Fatu attacked former WCW referee Randy Eller. And so that match was unfortunately thrown out. Gangrel wanted a restart. But instead of a restart, we'll do no disqualification on April 22nd in Port St. Lucie. That match is going to be amazing. If you saw the first one, and you will see the first one, I think it'll be on live in 3 weeks, 2 weeks before that match. You will want to come see the second one. They had a great match. Gangrel can still go. He had some injuries earlier in the year that he was a little bit worried about, but he's got it. He's got it back.
Yeah. So let's talk about, I think you mentioned Nashville, you mentioned Port St. Lucie just now. We talked extensively about Bash at the Brew. Yes. We also got Breakout in Pompano Beach Homestead. So you said a few minutes ago, CCW was a 4-show-a-year promotion. Now you're a 4 or 5 show a month promotion, and you've got homes burnt into Port St. Lucie, Homestead, Nashville, Pompano Beach, and Miami or Hialeah. So,
yes.
So is that the schedule that we can expect going forward? Is it in flux?
Yes, no, and actually, well, I've kind of we have a monthly venue in West Palm Beach that I've put on hold Every first Saturday of the month will be in Hialeah. Every second Saturday of the month will be at a Miami Brewing Company in Homestead, which is an amazing show for us. That venue is amazing. I mean, not just for television purposes, but like when you look at the backdrop of the Miami Brewing Company and what we're doing there, and the fans in Homestead, fans like they haven't seen professional wrestling. People are coming up saying they remember watching Kevin Sullivan, and that was the last time like meaningful professional wrestling was happening in that area. So they're a very rabid wrestling fans. So we're going to be there every second Saturday, and that venue is amazing. And the owners there is very much like Unbranded. They want us to succeed, because they succeed too. So every second Saturday of the month, we'll be at the Miami Brewing Company in Homestead. Okay. Every 2 months, we're still going to be at the Mid Florida Event Center in Port St. Lucie. The next event after the 22nd will be June 11th, which I like that schedule because we have a bigger crowd, a bigger area, bigger arena there. So to run monthly, even though we are talking about running Fort Pierce on those off months. And then it looks like we're going to stick with the last Saturday of every month, Nashville, Tennessee, Redcon 1, an amazing facility. It's like we have our own AEW Dark Arena. It's really the same size. Like I'm going to pipe and drape the place, but we're also going to see really cool stuff like guys like Brian Cage, who are Redcon 1 athletes, and different people that are going to, I think, anchor what we're doing here in Nashville. Nashville, what I've loved what we've done is we have created a rabid audience, but we weren't running it as consistently as we could have been. As soon as we put up tickets for Nashville, the pre-sales are incredible, and it's the same people. That's the thing about Bash of the Brew. That's the thing about like the last territory was business. Like my business model, what I had in my head was not what is occurring. So in my head, I thought we were going to be consistent. We're going to be every month. We're going to be every week. But we're going to find new fans. In Florida, you have a lot of transient.
Sure.
What are they called? People who come and spend money, tourists. So we thought, hey, maybe we're going to grab tourists. Maybe we're going to grab a new person every show, and we're going to draw a different 400 or 500 people every month. I look out in that audience and I see the same people. I see the same people from Bash 1. I see the same people at Port St. Lucie. And then those people watch live wrestling. And what's happened in Nashville now is when I walk in, we open the doors, I see the same people. There's a film director who's been at every Nashville show. He just got Ariel Levy a role in one of his independent films. And I was like, what he said, he wanted wrestling here in a consistent way and exactly what we're doing. He wanted to be able to know what's going on, but he doesn't want to watch the WWE. He doesn't want to watch All Elite Wrestling, and he wants that feel that we have. But he also wants to walk in and know that Jackal Stevens is here. Chase Stevens, Jackal Stevens, Chase Stevens, his older brother. Now that I'm saying Chase Stevens and the guys who are our Nashville guys, they want those guys. So we're building the territory, and we're building it with the same people. The same people are going to buy tickets for Bash. I have Bash 4 months from now. People buying tickets, and they've bought them for all 4 of them. So it's one of those things where I didn't realize that was going to happen. But yeah, so Nashville. I've held a little bit on West Palm Beach, and then we have Ocala. We're working with a wonderful lawyer, Meldon Law, Chris over at Meldon Law, great guy. So we have them as our full show sponsor in Ocala that helps us take care of a lot of the expenses and whatnot. And then they want to run in Gainesville on the off month. So it's one of those things where it's like more shows are available. March 12th will be a very big stress test for us. We have Homestead in in the South
Florida,
in South Florida, and then we have Nashville on the same day. But also, we are going to do on the 11th and 12th for charity. We're doing our town fair, so we're really going to be running that March 12th. 3 shows, 2 in South Florida, 1 in Nashville. 1 is a charity show. So if you're in the Coral Springs area on the 11th and the 12th, 8 o'clock, please go to the Our Town Fair. No, you don't have to pay for a ticket. Just go watch, our shows there. But that's going to be 3 shows happening at once. That's a big stress test for us, because if the growth continues and we can have big audiences, profitable shows, then the last territory means just that. I mean, we can run 2 towns in a night. It's not a problem. So is that what I'm looking to do tomorrow? Like I have a 2-year-old daughter, and I have a granite company that is incredibly busy. Helios Granite is incredibly busy now. So it's one of those things where, can I do that? But the train sometimes I feel like is already off the rails. Like there's no stopping now. Like when someone needs me to edit something, when somebody needs me to speak to them about a venue, and advertising and everything like that. Like we're a speeding freight train, so there's nothing I'm going to be able to do to stop it. But it's just if I keep putting. Do they use coal still in the trains?
I don't know, but the
About
image,
one shoveling the
image
coal and for electricity. I don't know what trains go by. So yeah, so that's where we see us going. The last territory, CCW Live, new media, more shows, and then if you're in those areas, I give us a shot. Give us a shot. I want non-wrestling fan. I know everyone watching this for sure is a wrestling fan. If you're watching Minutes to Bell Time, you're a wrestling fan, and you're a rabbit fan. So watch the show, watch live wrestling, and if we're in your area. But I'm really focused now to try to get people who don't like professional wrestling. If you don't like wrestling, try Bash at the Brew.
Sure.
If you don't like wrestling, go there. You know why? Because it's insane. Because it feels like a rock concert. Because the crowd, there's like a hypnotic effect to that crowd where you will love to cheer, you will love to boo. You have luchado, you have tacos, you have beer, and there are times when I'll be wrestling a match and I'll look to my left and you'll have like 6 rows of people that are locked in. And then behind them, you just have beautiful women, good looking guys, drinking, eating barbecue, and partying. And that's fine too. I'm happy with it as well. So if you want to be at just an awesome party where everyone seems like they know each other, and then you can go to Bash of the Brew. And I will try to recreate that at Redcon 1. I'll try to recreate that at we are recreating that in Homestead, and that's the feel that I want. Like if you hate wrestling, if you're a tourist, if you're in town, that's the place where you want to be, because not everyone is a wrestling fan.
What you're describing is essentially, wrestling ends up is part of it's the live entertainment at your party, right? Because you've got all the elements of a party or a get together or a community event, and you're drinking good beer, and you're having the barbecue, and you're amongst people that are just having a good time. And by the way, there's some awesome wrestling going on that you might love. So,
Exactly.
Lance King just joined the stream here, and he was asking what areas you're heading to. So we can just shout them out again: Miami, Homestead, Port St. Lucie, Nashville, Ocala's coming up, Palm Beach in the future. Get back on the schedules.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's
and then look, I have people in Philadelphia that are pushing me to run there. I don't know if I want to go to the East Coast because those wrestling fans are, but I could just imagine Fonzie walking anywhere in Philly, right? He's legendary. So, but as of right now, I'm focused on being the last territory, being the Florida territory. Nashville became a monster on itself. So, we're going to have the Nashville territory. Honestly, I would love to run in and around the Middle Tennessee area, maybe West Tennessee, maybe Northern Alabama. I have to look and see, but I'm not nothing on the horizon. Until television is set, media rights are set. Sponsorships. Our sponsorships are flying in. Where in the past, it wasn't the same way that it is now. So, we want to make sure that all those ducks are in a row as we grow. I believe in incremental growth because I expanded my granite business way too fast, and I went nuts, and I had to make adjustments, and I had to do these type of things, and I don't want to make the same mistake with CCW.
So we've talked about the live event end, and we talked about sort of the television end. There's also the training arm that we briefly touched on. But you have the training facility that the anniversary show will be run out of. You're also doing training in Port St. Lucie, Nashville as well, I think, right? So you've got
Nashville is like an open gym concept. We had guys like Eric Young was rehabilitating his injuries here and stuff, and it's on our slate in the future. We had talked to Redcon 1. We also had some pending deals with some larger companies to kind of work together on a training facility in Nashville, but it was one of those things where we have an explosion of the amount of students, and I have to thank David Heath Gangrel, an explosion in the amount of students that we have in South Florida. it is, you walk in there on any given day and you can have, now we had 3 rings set up yesterday. So you have, 28, 30 people. We're organizing ourselves so that people have a specific training time because there's so many new students. The influx is insane. And like I said, I give all the credit to Gangrel, David Heath, on helping us get to that spot. But Port St. Lucie was an amazing opportunity because we had already a base of guys that would drive an hour and 20 minutes to training twice a week. So we were able to work with a facility there, and now that's growing too. The thing about running a professional wrestling school is just, you don't want your students to get lost in the shuffle.
Sure.
If we have so many things going on, it helps for them to be able to see, work with a Jackal Stevens or a Kylan. Kylan does so much with the women there, and then they go and they'll see Kylan on All Elite Wrestling. And obviously you have Gangrel who's in the ring. Like sometimes I beg him not to go and work a practice match with 3 students because, I think he should pick his spots. He doesn't need to hurt himself wrestling a 6-month. Leave that to our assistant trainer Trevor Reed, Florida Man. Leave that to Florida Man. Let Florida Man work a 6-month student, in the ring. But Dave wants to feel, everyone wants to feel their headlocks, wants to feel their lockups and stuff like that. But that being said, it's just about organization. We're trying to organize ourselves because it's every week it's a new 2-3 students, and it's crazy. But it also shows that the training works. When you see Meadow, who is the top prospect in professional wrestling. It's the idea of how long are we going to be able to use Meadow in CCW before he's clearly given a contract in a larger company. They're already like he's worked a handful of matches and he's already had interest in major companies asking about him just because how he looks. So you look at a guy like Gangrel who trained Meadow from scratch, Lakai from scratch, and you look at the successful people like Jackal Stevens, like Agony, Alex Ocean. You look at the people who are coming out of that school, and even Ariel, was obviously has been wrestling for 7 years or 6, 8 years. So it's not like he was trained at CCW, but he's gotten a lot better, and he's there training every day. So it's one of Chris Farrow. So you have great students coming out of there. It just does make it a little bit harder for me sometimes with so many students to find to get literal time to sit with them and see where they're headed and stuff like that. But that being said, it's a good problem to have, and it makes people work harder. If you know that there's 10 new students, they all better be there every day. They better be busting their ass. They better be using their time one-on-one with Dave or anything like that. And then of course, Randy Rhodes, former WWE guy, training up in Port St. Lucie as well. And he has the ability to work a little bit closer one-on-one because there's not as many people in Port St. Lucie, but that's changing too. So it's just exploding. So if you want to become a professional wrestler, fly down to South Florida. Let Gangrel make you a great wrestler. And if you want to get, if you already were trained a little bit, you want to sharpen your skills, and you let us know. We have a special package for guys who have already trained that are just trying to sharpen themselves up. And here's the positive part of that. You get to work breakouts, which we do once a month, sometimes 2 times a month. You get to work in our shows, and you're going to get better working in front of crowds. That was really one of the, before a lot of things happened, that was one of the things, and I've had discussions with bigger companies to be that company where if somebody needs more seasoning, and let's say you don't have a performance center, if you can't work NXT Next Up or whatever, if you need someone who needs to work shows every weekend, we're the place to do it. You will work in front of audiences, obviously we didn't train Jake Tucker, Tom Pritchard did, but I mean, he's next up. And then you have Bianca Corelli, who spent a very short time with us. Obviously she was trained by her father and whatever, but I hope, and they've told me that this is the truth, is that working our shows and doing those type of things got them ready, got them better for the next level. So if you're in that middle area where you want to just get better, we're the place to be as well. If you want to start, we're the place to be. And if you're we have Eddie Valentine, who was retired up in Philly, and he came down and he worked wonderful match. And I was like, why are you retired? And he's out, maybe I'll work. So if from across the whole spectrum of what we have going on, CCW training facility is the place to be.
So talk to the 16-year-old kid who's like, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. What things should they be doing right now to get ready to come see you?
Get your body, get your neck, get yourself ready. Try to get your cardio where it's at. I have a lot of people who call me and they say like, I want to be ready in 6 months or whatever, and I just tell them, just come in now. Look, if you're squatting and if you're doing push-ups and you have to drop out, or if you're doing cardio and you go outside and you throw up, it's okay. We've all done that. I still do that. We've all done it. So don't tell yourself when I'm ready. It's like having children. If you keep saying like when I'm ready, you'll never be ready. It will always be the next thing. So to that 16-year-old, I would say wait till you're 18, please. Like we do have some 16-year-olds, but it's so like better 18 or better. When you're 18 years old, start now. And if you're not in South Florida or whatever, you find a reputable school with someone has done something, or someone whose name you've heard of before, like and look into the school. But just start. And also, like, I know, and this is not every school, but some schools you'll walk in and they'll be like, give me $4,000 tomorrow and whatever. If you don't have the money right away, go to the school, talk to them, tell them, and see if something can be worked out. But start tomorrow and immerse yourself. Take 6 months of your life and focus on becoming the best professional wrestler that you can. Because after 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, then it's a little bit more of a maintenance. But for those 6 months, those 8 months before you work your first match, really immerse yourself. Watch everything. Watch the NWA in 1986 to 89. Watch the New Generation era of the WWF. Watch mid WCW. You know what I'm saying? Watch a guy. We have the network. Pull up a guy's name or write an Excel spreadsheet. This is what I used to do. Write an Excel spreadsheet of all of Bam Bam Bigelow's matches. You can take a look at Cage Match, right? And then you find a link to each match and you watch them. And you watch the guy that you did this with Bret Hart as well. And you train every day. And then in 8 months, after you've really immersed yourself, then you can take a step back. Maybe you're almost ready to work matches or whatever. You still want to train every day, but immerse yourself, kid. Like if you love it. And then it's maintenance. It's just like life, when you start a new job, focus on the job for 6 months, 7 months. If you, and then once you're a little, then you can go back to, playing Fortnite and getting stoned or whatever kids do these days. Yeah, weed's legal. So, but but for the 6 months, don't play Fortnite, like don't get stoned, for those 6, 7, 8 months, like do, immerse yourself. That's what I tell everybody. But I'm not perfect, I'm never gonna wrestle for the WWE. I'm never gonna wrestle for AEW. Listen to I'm never gonna wrestle for a contract on All Elite Wrestling. But listen to those that have, and I'm sure a lot of them will tell you similar.
All right. Well, sir, I think we've covered on a lot of stuff today.
No, and Ryan, I want to thank you. I want everybody who is listening to this to go and you buy Minutes to Bell Time merch. I want you to, this guy works harder than all the other shows. Like, you go to these shows and the presentation on like other shows and just you are a real journalist. You are actually like, I know we've had conversations and you really care about the journalistic aspect of professional wrestling. So you do the work. And that's something that definitely resonates with me, because I feel like, that's the difference. What we try to do is we try to do the work. We try to go out there and have 5 shows. I don't want to just sit around and talk about being something in professional wrestling. You're a wrestling journalist. You're out there doing it. So I want to give you utmost respect on that. And I'll be around as often as you need me. And all of my wrestlers will be here. I spoke to Gangrel this morning. I said, you got to get on Minutes to Bell Time as well. So if you get maybe a little sit down with the Vampire, he's a tough interview sometimes, but he's great. Obviously, he's amazing.
All right. Well, with that said, I'm gonna thank a few people and do a couple promos here quick, and and we'll be right back here. So join Joey Jarzenka, Ian Schreier, and Rob DeLuca on Friday nights for the Primetime Rundown. Their show kicks off at 7 p.m., and they will take you through the world of sports. The Essential Wrestling Podcast is hosted by Al Carl every Tuesday at 5 p.m. It goes on, and they make their picks for the week's matches. I'm often featured on that show, and I will be tonight. So you tune in to the Essential Wrestling Podcast. You can watch that pretty much wherever you're watching this. And Pro Wrestling Pick'em, it is a place where you can join a league and do basically pick each show, score points, play against your friends, play against the universe. It's a lot of fun. You can join a public pool or create your own. So that's a lot of fun. I'm currently winning the Essential Wrestling Podcast pool by about 20%.
Of course.
So
you do the work. He does the work. He wins.
You do the work. You study the numbers. You do the work. So there you go. All right, sir. Anything else before we get out of here today? Like we said, we've talked about CCW as a promotion, as a live event promotion, as a TV promotion, as a training facility in Miami, going from as far south as Homestead up to Port St. Lucie, Ocala, and then Nashville. So you're everywhere.
Well, the last thing I just want to say is we have a lot of eyeballs. We have a lot of eyeballs on us, and we have a lot of really positive stuff. But I always have to thank all of the guys that got us here, particularly the last couple of years. Even guys that are not with us anymore. But like if it wasn't for Cha-Cha Charlie, Agony, Jackal Stevens, now I'm gonna miss somebody. Alan S2S, Martinez. Obviously Ariel, Bill Alfonso, Gangrel, Florida Man. Those are the guys that that there's like a loyalty, there's a trust, and they really are continuing to help us grow. So without those guys, I'm nothing. Dan Ackerman, who founded CCW 18 years ago, who's like, you can trust that guy with anything. You can give that. If you need to stash like 10 grand in a closet, he's the guy, because you're going to get back. You're not going to get back $9,700. Like I'll probably give you back, but Dan will give you the full 10. He'll give you that full 10, and I'll say like what he's done, and then a gentleman, Martin Camacho, and Jesus, who's a station owner for Mega in Port St. Lucie. These guys are where we're like the guys that will take us to that next level, and even if more people are going to be coming on board, and they will, those are the guys that I really, my heart really, pushes for those guys. And then obviously Marina Tucker, Kylan, I just said all guys for some reason, but there's a guy by the name of Tom Holmes, and he does the CCW magazine. Mm-hmm. And he writes a lot of if you look at the IMDb page, if you look at the YouTube page, a lot of the description stuff, and he runs a staff. Like now he has like 5 people who are writing stories about us and for us and stuff like that. And he didn't have to do that. He just loves us and what we're doing, So Tom Holmes, Tyler Peters, who's does the play-by-play for us in Nashville, the Mouth of the South, who just loves CCW. And so like those guys, man, like as we grow and whatever, Blake Chadwick, the voice of CCW, really. But like as we grow, those are the guys that are going to be there. They will be there. We had a guy from New Japan, I want to say who, reach out and ask, how can I get on Bash of the Brew? Like when he saw a picture that somebody posted, he's, how can I get on Bash of the Brew? And one of my thoughts was like, man, how do I get him in a match? And I don't want to drop Jackal's match because Jackal's over at the Brew. So then I'm saying like, okay, so this guy is going to fly himself in. You know what I mean? He works regularly for New Japan. He's going to work for almost nothing, but I'm not going to give that spot, not this month. So it's one of those weird things, And then Lou Spector gets so much heat. He gets more heat than anyone in wrestling. He speaks his mind. Everybody hates him. And that's real heat. He has heat. He has heat as a manager because that heat is real. Like that's who the guy is. If he says something on screen, that's Lou off screen. And so, but he does so much, it's about do the work, And as much as I work on the digital end and I work on the marketing end, Lou goes to a comic book shop and he'll get us a sponsor, or he'll go to a building, or he'll drive a truck 14 hours. So those are the guys that made CCW, and those are the guys that are going to continue to be CCW. And no matter what we do, like if the cards look different, those guys are always going to have they're going to be on the forefront of what we're doing, and they're the ones that got us here. I'm sure I missed people. I'm so sorry if I didn't say your name.
It's a lot of respect though for that concept of they were there when you were first started, and they're going to be there when you're on top.
100%.
Important message, I think. So, with that said, there is nobody he forgot because he made a blanket statement. So you're not forgotten. But for Nelio, I'm Ryan. This has been the Daily Wrestling News Show. Thank you so much for watching. If you tuned in at the end, it'll be available, the full episode, for you to watch from start to finish in about 2 seconds after I hit end broadcast. So watch from the start. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.